Hi everybody, this is Dr. Glenda Rose in Austin, Texas for Great English Online. This week our question is about active and passive voice that was brought to us by Maria on our Facebook page, where you can find a little additional practice every day. So let's talk about what is active and passive voice. In an active sentence, the subject is the agent of the action. The subject is the agent of the action. John wrote a letter. What is the action? The verb is write, in the past tense in this case, but the action is writing. And who is doing the writing? In this case, it's John. That makes John the subject of the sentence. The sentence is about what John is doing. John is also the agent of the act of writing. He is doing the writing. So he is both the subject and the agent. He is the person about whom the sentence is, and also the person who is doing the action. Who or what is being written? The letter. The letter is the object of the sentence. It is receiving the action of write. It is also the patient of the verb write. So it is being done to the letter. That makes it the patient of the verb write. So in a passive voice sentence, that's going to be a little different. The subject is now going to be the patient of the action. So for example, the letter was written by John. What is the action? It's still the verb write, but in this case we have the passive construction was written. Who or what was written? The letter. So now our sentence is about the letter, not about John. So the subject of the sentence is the letter, but the subject is no longer the agent of the act of writing. Who or what is doing the action of writing is still John. So John is still the agent of the sentence, even though he's no longer the subject of the sentence. Who or what was written? The letter. The letter remains the patient of the verb write. So subject and object have to do with their relationship in the grammar construction. Agent and patient have to do with their relationship to the action. So that's important. Agents do the action, patients receive the action. Subjects are about whom or about what the sentence is. Let's make sure we're on the same page. That means let's make sure that you and I understand the terms in the same way. The subject of the sentence is who or what the sentence is about. In affirmative statements in English, the subject comes before the verb, and in active sentences, the subject is usually the agent of the action in the sentence. The object in an active sentence is the person or thing that receives the action of the verb, and in active sentences, the object is usually the patient of the verb. In passive sentences, the subject is the patient, and the agent may or may not be present. If it is present, it will be in a by phrase. So let's talk about transitive and intransitive, because this is very important when talking about transforming active sentences into passive sentences. Transitive sentences have an object. The verb is in transit to the object. Do you see the word transit here in this? The verb is in transit to the object. And only transitive sentences can be made passive. Intransitive sentences, which do not have an object, cannot be made passive. In active transitive sentences, the subject is also the agent of the action. The object is also the patient of the action. And in passive sentences, the subject is the patient of the action. The agent may or may not be present in a by phrase. That's a lot of. So let's practice this a little bit. First, let's identify some sentences as transitive or intransitive. The boy fell. Is this a transitive sentence or an intransitive sentence? I hope you said intransitive. We don't have an object. We have the boy and fell, but we don't have anything that follows fell. The action isn't done to another thing, so therefore we just have an intransitive sentence. The baby is sleeping. Intransitive or transitive? Again, this is intransitive. We don't have an object that the sleeping is done to. The girl ate the cake. Transitive or intransitive? Transitive. Here we have ate is our action, the girl is the subject and also the agent of the eating, and the cake is what was being eaten. So we have the girl, subject, verb, object, the cake, and also agent, action, patient. The man reads the newspaper. Is this transitive or intransitive? Transitive. The man is our subject, our action is reads, our object is the newspaper. Or agent, man, action, reads, patient, the newspaper. Let's look at some transformation examples. The boy fell. Well, that's an intransitive sentence, so I can't transform it. The baby is sleeping. That was also intransitive. I cannot transform that to a passive sentence. The girl ate the cake. Now that's transitive, so I can change that to the cake was eaten by the girl. Notice how the cake moves to the subject position, was eaten, and then the by phrase for the agent, by the girl, and we will talk more about that soon. The man reads the newspaper. The newspaper is read by the man. So our patient becomes our subject, is read, and then our agent is introduced in a by phrase, by the man. Here are the steps to transform an active sentence to a passive sentence. First, identify the action, the verb of the sentence. Anytime you do work with grammar, your first response should be to identify the action of the sentence. Then ask yourself, is the sentence transitive or intransitive? If the sentence is intransitive, just stop. You cannot make it into a passive sentence. But if it is transitive, then ask who or what is the agent and who or what is the patient. Normally, the agent is going to be the subject of the sentence and the patient is going to be the object of the sentence. We are then going to move the patient to the subject position before the verb. We're going to add the correct form of to be in the same tense as the original sentence, and we'll use the past participle of the main verb for the rest of the verb phrase. Do we need to keep the agent? Is it important to know by whom this action was done? If yes, then we'll add a by phrase to add the agent back in. If it's not important, we simply stop the sentence there. Okay, let's look at an example. Here's a sentence, Shayla wrote the code. Is the sentence transitive? Yes. We have a subject, a verb, and an object, so it's transitive, and we will continue our transformation. What is the action? The action is write in the simple past. The agent of the writing is Shayla. She's the one doing the writing. And the patient is the code. The to be form in the simple past is going to be was or were. And so we're going to organize our sentence as patient plus was or were plus past participle plus our by phrase. Let's keep Shayla in it. So we have the code was written by Shayla. That wasn't so hard, was it? Let's look at another example. Mike is watching the children. So is this transitive? Yes. Therefore, we can turn it into a passive voice sentence. Let's continue. The action of the sentence is the verb watch in the present progressive form is watching. Our agent is Mike. Mike is the one doing the watching. And the patient is the children. We're going to use the form of to be in the present progressive, which is are being or is being. So let's organize the sentence. We'll have patient plus is or are being, depending on the patient, plus past participle, plus our by phrase. The children, which is plural, so we're going to use are being, the past participle watched, and our by phrase by Mike. The children are being watched by Mike. If it was not important to know that Mike was watching children, we could actually delete that information and simply say the children are being watched. Let's try one more. Nancy is sleeping. Is this transitive? No. We have an agent and an action, but we don't have a patient. So we have no patient, we cannot make it passive. Well, it's time to try the quiz. You can go to www.greatenglishonline.com and look for the free practice button to locate the video and the quiz. Thank you. If you enjoyed this lesson, please consider donating to www.greatenglishonline.com/donate.html. We also have private lessons with me, Dr. Glenda Rose. There are group lessons, free and also paid full courses. There is editing available for you, and there are many free activities available. So we hope to see you there at Great English Online. Thanks and have a great week. Bye-bye.